What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the Texas Rangers report. And before we get straight into the Elvis Andrus trade rumor, I wanted to get two things off my chest real quick. So if you haven't heard about it, Drew Robinson, former utility player for the Rangers, he's with the Giants now. He tried to commit suicide. I don't know the exact dates on it. It just goes to show that anybody can have difficult times in life. And if you're struggling out there, I encourage you to get the help that you need, because there's always a better alternative than taking a bad path. We're lucky that Drew Robinson is here with us, and now he's able to tell his story, and I'm sure he regrets what he did. I mean, I read part of the article by ESPN and Jeff Passan. He still deals with self-doubt and confidence, but he's working on it every single day with like treatment and medicine. So if you're one of those people that really needs some help, I just want to let you know that you're not alone. I struggle with some self-confidence sometimes. And there's always a better alternative out there. Now, moving to another note, MLB The Show 21 is going to Xbox for the very first time this year. And I'm super pumped because I've been an Xbox guy all my life. I never got to play any MLB The Show games. So I'm curious. I really want to start playing MLB The Show on this channel. I want to start doing some rebuilds and start interacting with the fan base more, playing MLB The Show against you guys, but still keeping it Rangers based. I have some interesting ideas in mind, but I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this, because if you guys don't think that that'd be interesting and you guys don't want to see any MLB The Show stuff, then I won't do it. But I really think it has some potential, and I have some ideas where I could play MLB The Show against you guys and talk Rangers, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I've always wanted to do some Rangers rebuilds, so I'll either throw up a poll, or you can just tell me in the comment section down below. That might be my pinned comment. And now moving to the major breaking news of this video is that Elvis Andrus has been traded to the Oakland Athletics. And yes, this is a new day that I am filming this on, and that is because the previous video I was filming an Elvis Andrus trade rumor video to the Cincinnati Reds, so I kind of had to redo my video, and now I'm here on this day whenever the Texas Rangers trade Elvis to the Oakland Athletics. And just in case you're wondering, Elvis Andrus was obviously the longest tenured Ranger remaining, but he was also the only Texas Ranger remaining from the 2011 World Series. So I just thought I'd let you guys know that as well. So let me get straight into the details, and I will be grading this trade at the end. So first off, the Rangers obviously traded Elvis because the Athletics needed a shortstop. And then we also traded Aramis Garcia. We claimed him off waivers earlier in the offseason. I actually made a video on that, so if you want to check that out, you can. And we sent in $13 million as well. I'll get into that a little bit later. And then for the Rangers, we obviously got Khris Davis. Every single Rangers fan knows about Khris Davis. He always likes to hit extremely well against the Rangers. We'll see if that translates into the new ballpark, but also he's not the same player, and it's not the same ballpark. We also got the Oakland Athletics 9th prospect in Jonah Heims. He's a catcher, switch-hitting catcher, mainly known for his defense. I think that's an interesting move. I'll dive into that later. And we also got a right-handed pitcher, Dane Acker, or Acker. He was drafted in the 4th round this year out of Oklahoma. So honestly, I like this trade, given that we get prospects in return. Because with my Cincinnati Reds trade, I didn't have the Rangers getting the ninth prospect in a farm system. Granted, some farm systems are stronger than others. I actually think the Rangers have a pretty good farm system, because now Jonah Heims is the 26th prospect in the Rangers farm system. But now we get Khris Davis, who will be a free agent after this year, so his money will be off the books. He's getting paid $16.25 million this year. We get a catching prospect in Jonah Heims, who I actually think could be our backup this year. Because we have Jose Trevino, I think Jose Trevino will probably be the starter, but also I think Jonah Heims is ready for the majors. We did sign Drew Butera to a minor league deal, but I don't think the Rangers would have just traded for Jonah Heims to be in the minors. But the reason I think this is interesting is because we also have Sam Huff. He's our second best prospect in the farm system, and we're thinking he's the future. I still think he is the future. I don't know what I was saying right there. But what I think is interesting is, could the Rangers be looking to trade Jose Trevino if he has a good season this year? Or could they be looking to trade Jonah Heims if he has a good season? Because now, in my opinion, we have 3 catchers with some solid potential in Jose Trevino, Jonah Heims, and Sam Huff. So I do think that move was interesting. A pitching prospect, a higher pitching prospect, would have probably been more favorable in my opinion. But the Oakland Athletics had a lot of catchers. They have Sean Murphy, who they obviously want to give more at-bats to. So that's probably why they made the trade. And we can't be picky because this is a bad contract for a bad contract. I went over that in my Odor video. And Dane Acker, this could be interesting. He didn't really get to prove himself because there was no minor league season. So this is one of those flyer guys that will just be interesting to see. And given that he already has gone to college, he doesn't have as much potential as a high school guy, but we just have to wait and see how he develops in the minors with the Rangers. We all know that the Rangers pretty much suck at developing pitching. So just, I'm sorry, Dane Acker, you're gonna suck. I'm just kidding. We'll see. And then now moving to the athletic side of things. So I do like this trade for the Rangers, but now let's dive into what the Athletics get. So the Athletics are obviously trying to contend this year. They're trying to contend with the Astros. They lost their shortstop Marcus Semien this offseason, and they weren't able to replace him with any other free agents. And the free agent market is completely barren right now. There's no shortstops that you would want to start on your team. And I would say that the Athletics and the Cincinnati Reds were the 2 teams that need a shortstop. Obviously, the Athletics don't need one now. And so now the Athletics have one locked in for 3 years. And yes, you might be saying, no, Elvis only had 2 years left on this deal. Well, Elvis is getting paid roughly $15 million this year and roughly $15 million in 2022, which probably would have been his last year with the Rangers. However, he had a vested option for 2023, which the Rangers most likely were not going to pick up, or if it was with a certain amount of games or something, they probably would have done their best to avoid that. However, given that he was traded, that vested option is completely guaranteed now. So that is why the Rangers dished in $13 million to kind of compensate for that vested option that's guaranteed. So I think that the Athletics, they don't really get a good shortstop because Elvis is on the decline and he's probably going to keep on plateauing. However, they get a somewhat adequate shortstop for their for this year while they're trying to contend. But the best thing about Elvis, and why I didn't really want the Rangers to trade him, is he's a great leader. Because now the Rangers, they're really lacking a solid veteran presence in that locker room. You'd say Kyle Gibson could be that presence, or Jordan Lyles, maybe even Odor, but it's lacking. So the Athletics definitely got a good leader right there. And then looking at Aramis Garcia, he's a flyer. Let's be honest. He used to be a top prospect for the Giants. Hasn't panned out. The Rangers took a flyer on him off waivers this offseason. And since the Athletics trade Heims, they just probably need a catcher in return. So now they're taking a flyer on Aramis Garcia. He can also play first base as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. Now, to rate this trade, I'd probably give it a B or a B+. I didn't really like that we had to dish in $13 million, but I know that it was necessary to get the deal done and get the prospects that we got back. Because honestly, I love building a good farm system, getting good prospects. I think that's a good way to build a solid club on the cheap. But I just think it's interesting that the best prospect we got back is a catching prospect, especially since we have Jose Trevino and Sam Huff. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this trade in the comment section down below. But I think it's solid for the Rangers. So I rate a B or B plus. But again, I didn't think Elvis was going to get traded this offseason because they told him to prepare for utility role. So I was like, okay, he could be the starting third baseman. I didn't want him to start at third base this year, but as the offseason progressed, it seemed like he was going to start more and more for the Rangers, but that he could still play short if IKF needed a rest day. I think he can even play second, so I thought he was going to be a better versatile guy than a guy like Odor. But now it pushes the question, are the Rangers going to trade Odor to a team that's second base needy like the Cardinals? Are they going to sign a third baseman now, or is Charlie Culberson and Rougned Odor going to battle that out in camp? Because those are probably now the two leading candidates to start third base. Odor was the leading candidate, and now those are the two guys. And I kind of just went on a rant there, but the last thing I'm going to talk about is the Khris Davis acquisition. So we have him for 1 year, and then he's off the books for 16 3/4 mil. John Daniels said that this is not like the trade a few years ago with the Giants, wherever they acquired the outfielder in the Jason Barr trade. I don't remember the exact outfielder. I'll put it on the screen. But they acquired him, and then they designated him for assignment right away. He said this is not going to be the same as that trade. He wants to bring Khris Davis through camp, see what he can do. He thinks he can provide for this team, which I think is interesting because he's been on the downswing of things over the past 2 years, and he's not versatile at all. The only position he's played in the field is left field, and if we wanted to play him at DH, he'd take away at bats from Willie Calhoun. But Chris Woodward asked Khris Davis if he's ever played first base and if he's comfortable with that. Response from Khris Davis was he's basically willing to do whatever the team wants him to do to help win games. So I think if Khris Davis has a strong first half and we could trade him for prospects, that'd be cool. But right now he's probably just like the fourth outfielder, and he'll probably platoon with Willie Calhoun, but he won't be able to play like center or right. It'll probably just be like left field, and then you'll have to move David Dahl or Leote or Joey Gallo around the outfield. You have to accommodate around Khris Davis since he's lacking defensively. So that just about wraps up the video. I know a lot of you guys out there like Elvis Andrus, so this might hurt for you that we trade him, but I think it was necessary. I hope the Rangers trade Odor next, and then maybe we sign a third baseman like Maikel Franco or somebody, I don't even know. Maybe Ronaldo Nunez. I've been preaching on that this offseason, but we'll just see. Thanks for watching. That just about wraps up the video. Like, subscribe. I'm the #1 place for Rangers things on YouTube. I post 3 times a week. Share this with Rangers fans. That way, no Rangers fans miss out on your favorite team. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.